last thing that I'll wrap up with the things that I've been enjoying. And this one is kind of near and dear to my heart. And I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast a few times. I really do think the power forward position is back. If you go do your research, you can go on YouTube because countless creators talked about it. I'm sure there's articles out there. I've seen Reddit posts about it. Over the last decade or so, the power forward position seemed to have died, right? A lot of small forwards were beginning to play power forward, and a lot of power forwards were going to play center. It became a small ball era, and it all started really with the 7 or second less Suns. Shout out to Mike D'Antoni. We got to get Mike D'Antoni on teed up. But I remember when he kind of scaled everything down. Amari Stoudemire, who came into the league as a power forward out of high school, they pushed him up to center after the first few years. Sean Marion went down to power forward, and I think you had Joe Johnson at the 3, Quentin Richardson at the 2, Steve Nash at the 1, and they were just playing fast. And after they were ahead of their time, but down the line, teams started to gravitate to that, and you start to see a lot of small forwards go to power forward and power forward go to center, or you would just have a traditional center, and we would just have like two guards and 2 wings around that traditional center, and we'll just run up and down the floor. The league that I grew up on had a more traditional setting of a front court. Now, I've never was saying we got to go back to having 2 guys post up on each block. No. We don't need that. But some of the physicality, some of the power in power forward was gone, and it was taken away, and it became positionless basketball. But to me, positionless basketball was just taking away the power forward because it was guards, forwards, and bigs. So all we did was just remove the power forward, and we just allowed all of the other wings to just scale down. But now it feels like the power forward position is back. We have Giannis, we have Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Johnson, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. Those are the top of the top. And I'm probably forgetting somebody. I always forget somebody. So if I did, apologies. But that's the top of the top. Like the cream of the crop power forwards. Like those guys are superstars. And we have some stars and some all-stars in that mix. But when you look around the league, I mean, the Grizzlies, they go Zach Edey and JJ. That's like a traditional front court. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley for the Cavs. The Bucks do Brook Lopez and Giannis. The Magic got Paolo and Wendell Carter or Goga. The Timberwolves go Randall and Gobert. The Jazz, Larry Markkinen, Walker Kessler. The Mavericks will be AD and Gafford or Lively. The Suns, when healthy, is Jabari Smith Jr. and Sengun. You have the Nuggets with Aaron Gordon and Jokic. Hell, the Pelicans over the last few games, Zion has been at the 3. There's Zion, Kelly Olynyk, and Yves Missy. That's been their front court. When Chet got back, it's been Chet and Ihart starting for the Thunder. Bam and Khalil Ware for the Miami Heat. Pascal and Miles Turner for the Pacers. Jalen Johnson, when he was healthy, he was in the front court with Double O and Clint Capella. It just reminds me of what the game was when I was growing up, and I like it in this new era. Again, it doesn't mean that we have to have 2 guys posting up on the block, but we can be fast, we can pace in space, we can get shots up, but we can also still have the power in the power forward. We can have the size. I like when these teams come out and they have size. I like when the Grizzlies have JJJ and Zach Edey in the front court, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. And I love versatility as well. So we're not saying that you have to always have 2 bigs on the floor, right? You can scale down and have a small ball lineup, a big lineup, and different things like that. But I just love seeing the power forward position back. When I was growing up, Zach Randolph was a power forward. That's what he was. He was a straight-up power forward. David West, Carlos Boozer, Blake Griffin, Paul Millsap, Kevin Love, LaMarcus Aldridge, power forwards. Early 2000s, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, they always were placing the front court with a center. Always. Then, again, we got to a certain point where it was like, let's scale down. Now, and over the older parts of their careers, obviously they became centers because they were less agile. And I understand it. Tim Duncan being at your center because you don't want 44-year-old Tim Duncan playing power forward and not having the mobility and agility that he once had. Same thing with Kevin Garnett and whatnot. But I love that we're getting traditional lineups and size in a modern game. I think it's unique, and I think it's a advantage, right? Size is something that's always going to be important because no matter how you're playing the game, you want to limit your turnovers, you want to score the basketball efficiently, and you want to control the glass. Having more size is going to give you an advantage to control that glass and have an efficient offense, because the more size you have, I'm guessing, the more easier it'll be to score at the rim. And that's the easiest shot in the game that you want to be able to take advantage of. And if you're able to apply enough pressure at the rim, you're going to make defenses collapse and load up to stop you there, which would then open up the perimeter. The game is to always be played that way. You don't play it outside in. It goes inside out. Though, like, no matter how much we try to change the game, the basics and the bases are always going to be that way.